Friday, everyone, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. We'll begin our program with an invocation led by Laura Faulkner-Pritchett, Account Executive with IR, followed by our national anthem played by Henry Barbola, Vice President, Sierra Bank.
Let us bow our heads. Our Father in heaven, we acknowledge your greatness and thank you for the many blessings of life. Make us mindful of the need for your direction in our lives. Help us to do good, serve others, and be honest and ethical in all our dealings. Help us to faithfully fulfill our obligations as neighbors to our community, our nation, and the world. We pray your continued blessings on each of us and on the nourishment for our physical bodies of which we are about to partake. Amen.
Thank you, Laura and Henry. Happy December, everybody. And winter is finally here, winter weather. Now, to welcome today's visitors, Carol Kybers, Senior VP of Human Resources with Benny Keith Company. Ms. Carol.
Thank you, Madam President. Today, let's have our guests just give a parade wave, shall we? We have Andrew Willard, guest of past President Mark Nurdin. Austin Nance, guest of Jeff Postel. Jennifer Baggs, guest of Connie Blake. Mercy Boama, guest of Kelly Lauder. Camber Brown, guest of Ed McLinn. Keith Chisholm, guest of Mike Crum and Blake Mormon. Michael Ryan, guest of Mark Semmelman. Olivia Barhost, guest of Susan Little. Matt Klein, guest of Dr. Joe Michaels. John and Jill Kirk, guest of Corey Harris. Barry Foval, I hope I got that right, guest of Garrett Hadley. And Christine Jones, guest of Elliot Goldman.
Appreciate it. We may have another guest list coming here shortly. Thank you so much, Carol. Everyone, today's meeting is graciously being sponsored by two awesome members of Fort Worth. First, the Fort Worth Convention Center. The Convention Center is the ideal venue for your special event, large or small, team trainings, board meetings, grand galas, and conferences. Elevated cuisine, event coordinators, and operations teams delight and surprise guests, so check them out for your next event, maybe even this fall, winter, spring. Today's meeting is also being sponsored by my alma mater, Tarleton State University of Fort Worth. Tarleton State University, yes, is a proud member of the Texas A&M system, a growing campus on Chisholm Trail with nearly 2,600 students and a new state-of-the-art facility focused on healthcare and sciences and education. Tarleton State joins the Texas A&M academic programs providing dynamic learning and research opportunities for students, our workforce, for Fort Worth, and our surrounding region. Thank you to both of these sponsors for their support of our club's mission. Now is the time we recite our four-way test. This is a roadmap for how we as Rotarians conduct our lives, not just here between the bells for 1 hour at lunch, but throughout our day with everyone we interact with. Please join me in reciting our four-way test. First, is it the truth? Second, fair to all concerned. Third, and fourth, beneficial to all concerned. Thank you, everyone. Great job. Now, are you ready? Are you ready? The moment you've been waiting for is finally here. Today's newscaster is none other than Miss Ann Sheets herself. Retired CEO, Campfire First Texas, Miss Ann.
Thank you for such a warm welcome. No politics today, but I do want to share with you some of my favorite headlines and photos with a promise that I didn't make any of these up. First, we have a story about chicken gangs. I didn't know that chickens had gangs, but these guys do look tough. According to a local newspaper, a warning has been issued about several gangs of feral chickens terrorizing residents. They've been waking up people in the early hours, wrecking gardens, and are becoming a growing traffic hazard. This is what happens when chickens run afoul of the law. And Oakland is quite proud of their sports teams, especially their baseball team, which had a pitcher who could throw either right-handed or left-handed. In California, they call this being amphibious. I thought they were the Athletics, not the Frogs. Staying with California news, when it was reported that the state's population was predicted to double by 2040, they blamed babies. Those babies, they can be small, but they are sneaky. And I'm sure many of you have been to Grandparents' Day at local schools. School cafeterias may not be great, but this is going too far. And of course, there are always some interesting police headlines. Captain Kirk says this is true. I mean, homicide victims rarely talk to police or anyone. And now, at least we know who to blame. The Republic reported that Blair Robertson, a psychic from Arizona, was hit by a car in Canada. With many injuries, Robertson said he's amazed he's still alive. According to the psychic, he never saw it coming. I didn't make this up. And from Washington, a poll conducted as students were returning to school this fall reported that 4 in 10 adults surveyed say they hated math. They called it a love-hate relationship with math, a favorite subject for some, but just a bad memory for others, including the headline writer. Now, some photos tell interesting stories. Have you ever wondered if your neighbors were spying on you? The people who live next door have good reason to believe that. And here in Fort Worth, last week a horse was seen riding in the back seat of a pickup in the stockyards. You may have seen this in the Star Telegram or on Channel 8. It turns out that this miniature horse was actually on his way to the movies. He sat down and the woman next to him asked him if indeed he was a horse. After replying that yes, he was, she said, "What are you doing at this movie?" To which the horse replied, "Well, I like the book." And a vehicle accident was also in the news. Luckily, no one was hurt when a truck carrying thousands of copies of Roget's Thesaurus crashed and lost its entire load. Witnesses were startled, stunned, aghast, taken aback, stupefied, confused, horrified, overwhelmed, and perplexed. Finally, you know when you're looking up something on the internet and you find something completely different than what you were looking for, but it's so interesting you just have to check it out? Well, I found a photo of one of this year's Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders who was visiting with 2 former cheerleaders from the last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl. The Next weekend will be partly cloudy and sunny, and TCU is eagerly awaiting finding out which bowl game they will be in this year. And how about that TCU women's basketball team? Perfect record and first in the Big 12. Thanks and have a good weekend.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Ann. She never disappoints. Never disappoints. And now for a few announcements. First up, we're going to have Chris Jordan, founding steward with Electroacoustics, who will share a Richard L. Knight Rotary Minority Business Awards update, followed by Judy Youngs, President and CEO with with Wings for a grant award, and then Greg Carter, Managing Director with WRG, who will let us know about a fun holiday volunteer opportunity. Chris, you're up.
This is our 5th year for the Rotary Minority Business Awards that we now call the Richard L. Knight Award. And we are just doing great. We've got funding, always have room for another sponsor. We will have over 100 companies that are nominated this year, okay? So what we need from you is we need a group of about 25 advocates. And the advocate may be the most important part of the entire program. The job of the advocate is to call up the nominee, say, congratulations, you have been nominated for the Richard L. Knight Award at the Fort Worth Rotary Club. Invite that person to lunch on Friday to join us, to explain the program, and to introduce them around and help them, encourage them to complete the application. So we need 25 advocates. You can click on the QR code right here, or you can just come see me today, give me your card, just walk up to me and say, hey, I want to help, but I need about 25 volunteers as advocates to help us, and we need them as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Judy?
Thank you, President Rebecca. Come on up. I'm here today to present a grant to the National Leadership Foundation. This grant will fund repairs not covered by their insurance for a roof leak. They also have additional matching funds, which means that the total charitable impact for the club's gift is a total of $10,000. We are today giving Christine Jones a grant in the amount of $5,000. Please remember that this is possible. These grants are possible because of your support of the organization. And we can only make these grants when you contribute to the grant fund. So there's a QR code on the screen here. Please scan it and give to your heart's desire, because it's all for great causes. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Mr. Gregg?
Where I come from, we say howdy. Howdy. So my name's Greg Carter. I'm here to do the last call for next week's We Care event. So next Tuesday, we will come together to serve the kids on the east side by making crafts that they can take to their families. There's about 14 tables, craft captains that we have now, about 130 volunteers that we've pulled together. We need chaperones and face painters. On the tables is a QR code and an old-fashioned sign-up sheet if you want to join. We just welcome you to spread the Christmas cheer. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Judy and Chris. Appreciate you so much. Just a few moments ago, we funded our first grant of the season. And now we're going to continue with our other efforts of grants in action. This is a past grant recipient who will let us know how we, the Rotary Club of Fort Worth, is making a difference in our community. And today we'll hear from Becky Burton, CEO, Girl Scouts of Texas, Oklahoma Plains. Becky.
Good afternoon. I'm here to say a great big thank you. The grant that we received, we held, it supported our annual STEM fair that was held at the Museum of Science and History. We had over 300 families that came, the girls and with their families that came and had a hands-on experience in the area of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And we had community partners that came and shared their partnership, shared their activities, and the girls were able to actively participate. The grant that we provided, our Rotary Club provided to us, which we appreciate, each girl received a science kit when they left with some, it was electrical exploration kit. So they got to do some things with electricity, which is, what's fun with a first grader in electricity. But it was really well received, and the girls had a prize or a souvenir to take home with them and continue their interests. But we are so grateful to this Rotary Club for the support that you give our girls. And as we continue to help them learn about science, technology, engineering, and math and their role as females in that, but also as they learn about their leadership experience and how to become leaders of our community. So thank you very much. It was greatly appreciated, and we will continue to do the work to support our girls with your help. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Becky. How special. And this is what the Rotary Club of Fort Worth is all about: service, taking care of our community, where we can step in. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our chairperson of the day, Ms. Casey Oliver, Director, Economic Development and Strategic Partnerships with the Texas A&M University. Ms. Casey.
Good afternoon. I'm so honored to be with y'all today. Happy holidays, sharing Aggie spirit, all the good things, and of course introducing our A&M Fort Worth leadership team, Dr. Kim McQuistion and Dean Bobby Audier. Dr. Kim McQuistion is an Associate Vice Chancellor with Texas A&M University System and the Director of Texas A&M Fort Worth. In this role, Dr. McQuistion's focus is to manage the development of the new campus into a hub for collaboration between key Fort Worth industries and top research, education, and workforce training assets of the Texas A&M system. Dr. McQuistion has served in numerous administrative roles during her time at Tarleton State University and Texas A&M University, Kingsville. She was also a tenured professor in the Department of Animal, Rangeland, and Wildlife Sciences in the King Ranch Institute for Ranch Management while at Texas A&M Kingsville. Dr. McQuistion holds a Bachelor of Science in Animal Science from Texas A&M University, a Master of Science in Animal Science from Kansas State University, and a PhD in Agriculture from West Texas A&M University. Dean Robert Audier. We all know and love him as Bobby, a friend to many, passionate advocate to all. Robert Audier has served as the Dean of Texas A&M University School of Law since 2018. Wow, time flies, huh? In addition to his more recent appointments, and this is going to be a little long, but as the university's in addition to recent appointments as the university's Vice President for Professional Schools and Programs and COO of Texas A&M Fort Worth, a graduate of Princeton's Woodrow Wilson School of Public and International Affairs and Yale Law School. Audier served as a law clerk to Judge James R. Browning of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit before his selection for the Honors Program in the Civil Division of the U.S. DOJ. While still in law school, Audier published what remains one of the most critical works of the constitutional transformation of post-Soviet Russia, Russia's constitutional revolution, legal consciousness, and the transition to democracy. Audier's work has also appeared in the Boston University Law Review, Michigan Law Review, Minnesota Law Review, NYU Law Review, and Southern California Law Review, among other journals. Prior to Texas A&M, Audier was the K.H. Geyer Professor of Law at Emory University. During his tenure at Emory, Bobby also served as the Associate Dean of Faculty and Vice Dean. An elected member of the American Law Institute, he has served as a visiting professor at Columbia and Georgetown Law Schools, as well as Princeton University and the Institute for Advanced Study. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you our leadership team.
Well, good afternoon. I feel like Greg teed it up well. Howdy. You can get away with that here in Fort Worth. I know Mayor Price taught us well that we're in Fort Worth and we can say howdy as we can in Aggie Land too. So thank you, Casey. It's an honor to serve in this role and collaborate with an amazing team of people that work tirelessly to make this ambitious vision a reality. Several of them are here today and a couple will have a turn at the mic. This table over here has a lot of the folks that work on this from day to day, and so appreciate them being here. And so certainly if there's additional questions as we work through that today, I have a team to help support us as we do that. You'll also get to hear from my partner in crime. I kind of shortened the titles to COO, VP, and Dean, Bobby, as well as one of our new employees, Denise Canales, who joined us this summer to really focus on our work in innovation and industry collaboration. Texas A&M Fort Worth is a true partnership between the City of Fort Worth, Tarrant County, and the Texas A&M University system. If I started to name additional organizations, companies, or individuals who have played a key role in this initiative, I'd be here a while. So I kind of feel like if you've played a part, do your parade wave, as was requested earlier today. Many of you in this room have had a touch point with the project, so please know that we are thankful for you and your continued support. This new campus will continue to grow and evolve as it blends premier Tier 1 leadership with commercial entrepreneurism. The campus will offer an integrated site for academic programs, workforce development, and corporate and academic research. The complex will serve as the anchor for a broader effort by the city and county to create a technology and research innovation district on the southeast side of downtown. All right, to begin with, most people are familiar with Texas A&M University, but many people are not aware of the size and scale of the Texas A&M University system, which is one of the largest systems of higher education in the nation, with a statewide network of 11 universities, including the flagship Texas A&M University, and 10 regional universities across the state, such as Tarleton State University. Additionally, the A&M system provides service and education to the people of Texas and beyond through 8 state agencies. The mission of these state agencies ranges from research to protecting natural resources and communities. Each of the A&M system members has its own unique mission, history, and goals. Together, they provide research, educational programs, and community enhancement services that improve the lives of people in Texas and around the world. A&M system universities educate over 150,000 students and make more than 21 million additional educational contacts through service and outreach programs each year. The A&M system is ranked #1 in Texas for research expenditures, which exceeded $1.27 billion in FY23 and helps drive the state's economy. The last thing I'll mention on this slide is that the Texas A&M University system has made a significant investment in this region, and specifically Fort Worth, over the last 10 years. Acquiring the law school from Texas Wesleyan in 2013, investing in an 80-acre tract of land on the Chisholm Trail for the new Tarleton State University Fort Worth campus, which opened in 2019, and then, of course, the creation of Texas A&M Fort Worth here in downtown. From a vision perspective, before we talk about what Texas A&M Fort Worth is, I first want to state what it isn't. This new campus is not envisioned to be like one of the system's regional universities that I just mentioned. Student coursework will be offered here by Texas A&M University or Tarleton State University. So degrees will come from Texas A&M University or Tarleton State University. Diplomas will say Texas A&M University or Tarleton State University, not Texas A&M Fort Worth. So why Fort Worth? Why has the system made some big investments here? As one of the fastest growing cities in the nation, an A&M system campus will provide access to an affordable education in this urban environment. It will bring Tier 1 research collaborations and experiential learning opportunities to students through partnerships between system members and the private sector. It will serve as an anchor and attract businesses to this new innovation district. And in addition to providing new space for the law school, which needs new facilities to grow
to continue to grow and rise in the rankings. The new campus will provide an opportunity for several agencies within the A&M system to centralize regional operations here in downtown Fort Worth. And while we'll spend most of the time today talking about the future, I think it's important to note that we aren't waiting for future facilities to come online to launch programs or centralize operations here. We opened a temporary headquarters in Burnett Plaza in November of 2022, which has allowed us to hire or relocate employees and begin programmatic engagement within the community. So as we look at this slide from a pre-development standpoint, hopefully most of you can orient yourselves with this image of the southeast side of downtown. You can see I-30 on your left, and their water gardens are centrally located just to the left of the convention center. Directly across the street from the water gardens with the white square roof is the current law school, flanked by the Sheraton Hotel on the left and the city parking garage on the right. In this image, we took the liberty of straightening out Commerce Street, as we anticipate it will look as the convention center continues with its renovation process. If this was a photo and not a rendering, one thing you would quickly notice is that so much of this property is currently not developed. It is parking lots for the most part, which provides a unique opportunity in an urban environment to build a vision for what this campus could become. This next image depicts what the southeast side of downtown could look like in the future. Not all of these structures will be Texas A&M Fort Worth facilities. Our hope, though, is that our investment in new facilities and activation of an underutilized side of town will serve as a catalyst for this area to develop into an innovation district. As we move through the presentation, I'll talk a little bit more about the construction and plans that are currently underway from a facility standpoint. And then when my colleagues will spend a little bit more time talking about the programmatic components of what we anticipate happening within the buildings. The Law and Education Building is the first building currently under construction. It is an 8-story, 225,000 square foot academic building. We broke ground in June of 2023. Those of you who were with us remember that day well. Hell's Half Acre did not give that land up without a fight. It was hot. We topped out a couple weeks ago and the weather was much better then. We have a short video we'll play in just a minute to recap this most recent event, but we anticipate this first building opening in 2026. The planned users include academic programs offered by Texas A&M and Tarleton State Universities. The A&M Law School will occupy approximately half of the building. The balance of the space will house programs from the A&M College of Engineering and several degrees from Tarleton State University, including advanced practice nursing, biotechnology, and medical laboratory sciences. We have additional requests from the Texas A&M Mays School of Business and the Texas A&M Pharmacy School for space in this first building that we are also trying to accommodate. In addition, due to the new state business courts that were recently created by Governor Abbott, 2 judges now reside in the current law school. In fact, they now reside in Bobby's office. So he has moved over to the Sheraton just down the hall from the swimming pool. He can talk more about that in a minute if he chooses. Again, we anticipate this first building serving as the academic anchor to this new campus. If you have not driven down Calhoun or Jones Street lately, I would encourage you to do so. The glass is going up and the brick will be right behind that. A couple weeks ago, several of us actually made a trip to the Acme brick plant in Denton to watch the brick being made. It was pretty cool. We actually made some little commemorative bricks too. So that brick should be on site soon. Here's a couple renderings of the interior. The moot court is depicted in the largest image, followed by the 2-story law library on the top right, an image of the learning stair as you walk into the lobby of the first floor, and finally an image highlighting a 2-story multi-purpose room on the 8th floor that will be a great meeting space for larger groups and should provide beautiful views of downtown Fort Worth. The next building that we're working on is called the Research and Innovation Building A. This facility will serve as the research and service anchor. 5 of the 8 state agencies will be located in this building. These units will activate the campus and attract industry partners and entrepreneurs interested in working in tandem with members of the Texas A&M system. We anticipate this building will strengthen the multidisciplinary collaboration between education, industry, and the entrepreneurial community in Fort Worth. This building is currently in design phase as we work toward November of 2025 to request construction approval and funding. We anticipate a building comparable in size to the Law and Education building. Several floors of parking will be included at the base of this facility. You can see a list of the anticipated system member units who we anticipate being in this building. Some of the unique spaces that are currently being planned for these system members include an emergency operations center, rooftop greenhouses, a computational analysis room to support aerospace engineering research, and clinic space for a long-term maternal nutrition study, just to highlight a few. We also anticipate other industry partners to co-locate with us, providing unique opportunities for academic and corporate collaboration and problem solving. This next building we hope to move forward with is for the Performance, Visualization, and Fine Arts Facility. That one is the one down there on the corner next to Lancaster between Jones and Calhoun, I believe. This program was originally planned to be part of the Research and Innovation Building. However, due to some unique requirements related to size, they needed a 3-story tall space for a giant 90 by 20 foot LED screen, which also needed minimal vibrations, which doesn't work well if you're nested in a parking garage, as well as reduced external sound and some other things. And so it was determined that this facility should come out of that larger building and stand alone down there on the corner. As a result, we will be seeking board approval to design and construct a facility to meet the needs of this cutting-edge program next year. Classes for the visualization program actually launched this fall here in Fort Worth. These students are learning and taking classes in a space shared by a gaming company just a few blocks east of here. It's a great example of what we are trying to build through this effort here in Fort Worth. The Research and Innovation Building B, which is essentially phase 2 of this larger research and innovation building, it will span the total of 2 city blocks. The parking podium will be extended and connect the parking under the first phase, will connect with the parking under the first phase of the building. This phased approach allows the Research and Innovation Building to get programs launched and then determine what programs need to grow and have additional space, potentially specialized space in this second phase. It will also allow room for expansion of the law school and other business and industry partners who want to co-locate. The third building is the Gateway Building. The facility is located between the Water Gardens and the Research and Innovation Building on Commerce Street, where the current law school is located. We envision this facility to be the front door to the campus since it will be facing onto Commerce Street. Planning for this building is further out, given the law school will need to be completely moved into other facilities so their current facility can be demolished and the site repurposed for the Gateway Building. We anticipate that over time, other buildings will also be constructed in this area as a result of the current projects underway on this side of town. So at this time, can my computer guys start the video?
About 3 years ago, many of us were here, gathered in basically an old parking lot. Now we're topping out our law school and education building.
And I think all of us should really take note of what this means for the community. And as only A&M system can, this is what you have here in downtown Fort Worth, which is truly, truly incredible.
You all know that Fort Worth is special. We also know that Texas A&M is very special, and this is going to be an incredible driver of economic prosperity and development and innovation, and the entire county and region is going to benefit from it.
We're not just raising buildings here in Fort Worth, we're raising the bar on education. And this is going to mean so much to the definition of this city in the future.
This system, this project, this A&M Fort Worth project is going to make that happen. It's going to be gasoline to that vision. It's going to be gasoline to what is possible when the A&M system gets behind something. That was the legacy Chancellor Sharp wanted to leave with this A&M Fort Worth project.
I think the bottom line is this: if you offered Texas A&M, any city in the state of Texas, to come in to do something like this, we would have chosen Fort Worth because of the people involved in building this city and because we believe that it is the most dynamic, futuristic city in the state of Texas, period.
About 3 years ago,
We don't need it twice. We're not there on the second building, just the first. Well, thank you for that. It's been real special to be part of this project and to see that building come up as quickly as it has. It's taken a lot of folks here in this room to make that happen. And so again, I appreciate their support as we continue to build the first building with the anticipation of it opening again in mid-2026. I'm going to shift gears now for a second and talk to you a little bit about the Fort Worth-Tarrant County Innovation Partnership. And so a really unique aspect of this campus is the integration of industry collaborators with the academic and the agency components. This is not done often, and it's not easy. But we're excited to share some remarkable progress from an initiative funded by the city and the county, which is known as the Fort Worth-Tarrant County Innovation Partnership, which is chaired by John Goff. Although Daryl Heath, the executive director of the partnership, couldn't join us today, we are fortunate to have Nina Petty with us in the audience. In addition to her role at the university, Nina serves as an advisor to this initiative, leveraging her expertise and connections with industry leaders. So the vision for this partnership was to create more than just an academic campus downtown. The goal was to ensure the campus aligns with the community's needs and actively contributes to its growth and development. This diagram highlights the 7 focus areas, which we are calling hubs, that the Fort Worth-Tarrant County Innovation Partnership team has concentrated on since the partnership's inception last year. They have engaged with more than 60 companies across this area to identify critical needs in research, academic programs, and workforce training, all aimed at advancing the economic growth of North Texas businesses. Daryl and Nina wanted you to meet a key addition to our team today, Denise Canales, who previously worked at UT Southwestern and Pegasus Park, which is an innovation center dedicated to advancing biotech companies in Dallas. Denise now leads one of the initiative's key hubs, entrepreneurship, startup support, and commercialization. Denise is a Fort Worth resident and brings a wealth of experience to this role. Her work seamlessly connects with all the other industry hubs represented at the bottom of this chart, fostering collaboration and innovation across these sectors. Denise, the floor is yours.
Well, howdy. And I'm a horned frog too, so yes, okay. Thank you so much for your time today, and thank you, Nina, for the really wonderful introduction. My role, my title is actually Director of Innovation. And I have 3 hats, and I'm going to explain them to you briefly. They're each their own 2-hour-long talk. I will spare you. But I want to explain how they connect and how they connect the dots. Let's see if we could go forward a slide. That one right there. I'm going to connect the dots. That's a lot of dots, but I promise I won't go too long. One of my roles is really working with the leadership team here at A&M Fort Worth, and it's been a great honor to do so. And I can't underscore the weight that they lift in the planning and thinking of the people that are in these 2 tables. So it's an honor to work for them and with them. The second role that I have is within the system. So you saw the big state with all the dots, and every A&M's everywhere. And I remember when I was considering taking this position, the idea to not travel so much in my car to Dallas every day was great. But thinking about taking this position, and we were talking about the scope, and they said, well, system innovation is the whole state. And I'm like, did you see the slide? Like, did you see all those dots? Like, that's a lot. And they're like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fun. And we went forward. So my second role is within Innovation A&M system. And what that does, and I'll be very brief, is it takes anything that's created, any intellectual property, anything that's created at any of those universities or agencies or sites across the entire state, and we protect it, we patent it, we look at it for commercial value, and we develop it, and we either out-license it to companies that exist, and if none exist and we think it needs to exist and help humankind, we will form a startup around it, and we do that work. So that is what the innovation work is for the whole system. Now, that work is primarily for the benefit of A&M. What we see here that's very, very unique are the hubs. So my hub is the hub with the longest name, Innovation, Commercialization, Startup Support, Entrepreneurship. That's actually the hub that I lead. And we take the commercialization work that we do for the entire state, and we're doing it here in Fort Worth for the effort that you see here. Now, if everyone does a gig 'em thumb, and you cover the yellow circle here, that is what most institutions for decades have tried to do and pull off. Everyone knows that industry and academia have to work together, and that's really the big secret on how to make great things happen. But no one really has put this together. So I think that this is unique because the hubs here in Fort Worth and at this particular point in time with the building of this university gives us an extremely unique opportunity. So the fact that the city and the county and the university and people like yourself within the community are coming together to make this happen is astounding. And that is what I think makes the university truly innovative. We talk about innovation hubs, innovation university, innovation district. This is what makes it unique. And so there's opportunity for you to engage with these hubs as well. All of these hubs have leaders like myself and a lot of volunteers and people who are working towards these efforts. If you find this interesting and you want to know how you can get involved, or you have a startup and you're like, hey, you talked about startups being on campus, what about my startup? Come see us afterwards. I'm 6'2", so just get on your toes and look above the crowd and you can find me, but come find me at the end. I'd love to talk to you. So this is really the connective tissue. These are the hubs. This is the rare opportunity that we have. And I think it's in particular because of this structure that we will be successful and have tremendous impact on the city. All right, thank you very much. I hope I connected some of the dots and explained the why behind the what. And I'm gonna have Bobby come up. He does not need a third introduction, you know him. And he's gonna explain a little further about the people we have been engaging with so far. Bobby?
Howdy. Good, that's good. I've retrained you well after 6.5 years. It's a great honor to be here. I will say again, I remembered the first time I came to visit Rotary, shortly after I got here 6.5 years ago, and I was introduced, I kid you not, that table right over there, to a concept I had not known before, which was the Aggie joke. So I'd never heard of such a thing, and so I arrived at the table, and one by one, these older gentlemen said, like, how many Aggies, whatever, and I was like, what's happening right now? What's going on? And so, anyway, we've come a long way, including, look, all this is to make up for those Aggie jokes. I'll also say that I acknowledge Rotary. I want to acknowledge Rotary as the very first place that, in a very public way, A&M spoke about what we were doing. Thanks again to Casey organized here speaking to Rotary. We had our chancellor come speak, and as you know, John Sharp, our chancellor, will be stepping down at the end of this year, and he describes this project as one of the most important legacies that he wants to leave behind. But he came and he spoke, and he described this idea of what if A&M were to do something far broader and more significant than simply the law school, and what that might mean. My main contribution that day was to try and convince him not to tell all the jokes that he wanted to tell, and for those who are here, you know I failed miserably. And in fact did tell a range of jokes that I was not excited for him to share, but you laughed politely, so it was okay. So you've heard from Kim and Denise kind of the broad concept. I thought let me sort of close us out by by putting a little bit of meat on the bones or concretizing that a little bit, both in terms of what we're talking about and what I believe will be the impact or the potential impact of that effort. The concept in essence is what happens when you bring together, and the chart that Denise shared in particular shows what happens when you bring together these incredible assets of this big, huge, monstrous research university together with the existing industry needs and opportunities, and also those industry needs and opportunities that we can attract to our community, to Fort Worth, to Tarrant County, and really to the entire Metroplex. That idea of together, the combination of those academic resources and those industry resources around research and development, around R&D, around workforce training, around what I think of as the student to employee pipeline, that becomes an incredibly powerful engine of economic growth and innovation and development for our community. So let me, again, to put some, a fine point on that, these are a few, not even all of the agencies and academic programs of A&M, as well as Tarleton State. Again, as acknowledged, is a system school, and they will have a significant presence on the campus as well. These are the range of programs that already today have identified an interest in having physical plant. She chuckled when she said it, but Kim's, the least enjoyable, perhaps, part of her job at the moment is how do you fit, 500,000 square feet of demand into 300,000 square feet of space? Without making, I don't know, like let's say the dean of the law school angry. And so that's really what we are in the midst of trying to figure out at the moment. That's really the task. We already are way oversubscribed, and a number of these on this list have just shown up in the last month or two, right? So what we are seeing is a recognition by an ever-expanding circle of A&M departments, colleges, schools, and again, not just in College Station, but at Tarleton State and throughout the system of we want to be in Fort Worth. We want to partner with Fort Worth in a significant way. I again want to put an emphasis on, that big map that Kim put up and talked about the agencies. This is an unusual idea that it turns out 8 state agencies, these are state agencies in every sort, funded by the legislature, run by the governor, otherwise so on and so forth, are actually operated day to day by the Texas A&M University system. You may like the idea or not that if there's a huge flood or tornado or crisis, A&M is who's going to come and save you. So the Texas Division of Emergency Management is actually one of those 8 agencies. So when you see in Houston or in West Texas, Houston flooding, fires in West Texas, the lead on that is the Texas Division of Emergency Management, which is an A&M agency. They will have a significant presence in that campus along with a number of those other agencies as well. So we start with that kind of strong academic component. Again, then we layer around that, and again, this is just a visualization of it. You see kind of the core A&M and some kind of community resources in that colored circle, the shaded circle in the middle. And then you see all these companies around it. This is not an imaginary list. This is a subset of the list of companies that we have engaged and spoken to. As you can see, they range from the very largest companies to medium-sized companies to small companies, startups and the like of the sort that Denise was describing. It turns out that's part of a robust ecosystem of this sort as well, right? What makes it exciting for those big companies to be in downtown, to be in Fort Worth, and to be in downtown is the presence of those startups. And what makes it exciting for the startups to be here in downtown and with us in Fort Worth is the presence of those big companies. So we are curating almost that dynamic of we are going to have this robust industry presence of diversified sorts that will allow then these partnerships to play out and develop. I want to acknowledge again in terms of community involvement and engagement, one of the first steps we took in advancing this project very early on, this is probably 4 years ago now, maybe more than that, was we wanted to really figure out what were the needs in the community. What were the community needs, the business needs, the industry needs that we could meet? And so we elected to sort of undertake a number. We recruited a consulting company by the name of U3 Advisors to do some work for us, including on what we called a needs assessment. And that work was funded by Downtown Fort Worth, Inc., and by Andy Taft through his support and fundraising efforts, that we were able to sort of pursue that early assessment of what the community needed, such that what we're doing now really is reflective of that. So we're grateful grateful to DFWI as well as others for their support in that regard. So then what happens when we put these together? What happens when this actual, the overlapping circles that Denise shared with us, what happens when we put them together? Kim mentioned one of them, that I'll just, follow on. You may know Texas established as of September 1st of this year, established these new business courts. The idea is that we want Texas to be able to compete that much more aggressively with Delaware in particular, but other states for incorporations. Most companies in the U.S. are incorporated in Delaware. Texas wants to compete for those incorporations. Critical to that effort is having specialized, trained judges who focus exclusively on those business law, corporate law cases. So Texas has now established those. As soon as the legislation was signed, the governor reached out to A&M and said, given the work that you're doing in Fort Worth, will you host the Fort Worth Division judges on the campus on the new Fort Worth campus? Needless to say, we said yes. Again, you can insert an Aggie joke here about not doing math very well. We neglected the minor detail that the courts went into effect on September 1st, 2024, and the actual facilities will not open until early 2026. And so again, we literally looked through the building to figure out where could we put these judges' chambers, concluded there was only one space that worked, and it turned out, unfortunately for me, it was my office. And so those judges now do in fact sit in what was previously my office. There was no place for me to go, so my office is now, in fact, a former storage area in the back of the Sheraton. Now, I always say this, and I immediately highlight, please do not show me any sympathy. It turns out many an eccentric billionaire has spent the last years of their lives holed up in a hotel. Now, usually it's like the Waldorf Astoria or the Ritz-Carlton or something like this. I'm eccentric, but not a billionaire, so me, it's the Sheraton. Could have been worse. I also emphasize again, as Kim mentioned, that I actually am a very fancy guy because I'm the unusual executive here in town who has a swimming pool just outside his office. So it has its charms. But what that initiative reflects really is this idea of what happens when we create a physical space in which community, industry entities, in this case the business courts, can co-locate together with academic resources. We are doing great things together, faculty, students, the judges, not just the judges in Fort Worth, but judges further afield. We are now seeking a significant amount of funding, 8 figures of funding for a center on corporate law that we expect to get, and will put Fort Worth even more on the national map in that regard, and so you can see how that synergy is there. But I want to mention 2 other examples, one of which was already mentioned. The gaming company that Kim mentioned is called Probably Monsters. It's based in Seattle. For those in the gaming world, I'm sure a number of you I'm looking at, you play Halo. No, I don't know what that is, but but apparently it's very popular among the kids. They were the developers of Halo. They were looking for a place to relocate. They happened to be here in Fort Worth visiting with one of their investors, John Goff. And in John Goff's office at that moment, A&M was visiting, and in particular, who was visiting the School of Performance, Visualization, and Fine Arts that Kim mentioned, and that turns out to be one of the leading gaming programs in the United States. They connected. Probably Monsters is now relocating from Seattle to Fort Worth. They have already begun that move. They're leasing space just down the street from the campus, where, again, as Kim mentioned, students from PVFA are already located. Now, that's not the end of it. That's the beginning. Because once we establish that relationship, we now go out into the world and we tell the story of Fort Worth as a hub for research, training, programming, workforce activity, whatever, in that space, and those other companies follow. I can give another example. A&M, the A is ag, so we're a very strong ag school. Just outside Fort Worth in Cleburne, there's a company by the name of Eden Green, has some of the most notable patents in the area of controlled environment agriculture. The idea that with the right technology, you can do in 1 acre what normally takes 5 acres at the same price. This dramatically changes food distribution and production in the United States. It saves tons of money, so on and so forth. The hub for that activity is currently Amsterdam. By partnering A&M AgriLife together with Eden Green, this company, here on the campus in a greenhouse that will sit on the roof of that second building that Kim described, we want to move that center of gravity from Amsterdam to Fort Worth. so that all over the world, people think of Fort Worth as the place to go and do that kind of activity. All of this has big consequences. I'll stop here. This is an analysis we did of the economic impact of the campus. You know, this is, again, given what I'm describing of the scope of what we're doing, the industry scope of it, not surprising that these are pretty big numbers, but the vision that I would leave you with actually is much bigger than this. Fundamentally, Silicon Valley, which you've all heard of, consisted of one or two, depending on how you include Berkeley or not, one or two universities, high research, big universities, combining with a set of established companies, most significantly National Semiconductor, and then a bunch of people sitting in their garages, right? That's what it was 50 years ago. Today, it's Silicon Valley as you know it. There is nothing as a matter of resources, as a matter of assets, as a matter of geography, that prevents us from doing the same thing. What we, in essence, are trying to do with this campus is to put in place the platform, the ecosystem, the framework to bring exactly that kind of innovation, exactly that kind of entrepreneurship, exactly that kind of economic growth to Fort Worth. So that's the ambition. We're grateful to all of you for being part of it, and I will turn it over from there. Thank you so much.
Bobby, Kim, and Denise, thank you so much for being here. This is amazing. This is fantastic. What a blessing. How fortunate are we here in Fort Worth, Texas? And I do want to also say, for your time being here today, we've made a donation in your names to the Rotary Polio Plus Foundation in our efforts to eradicate polio around the world. We look forward to you coming back with an update, most definitely. And if you have time to stay and answer some questions, I know this group has questions. Without a doubt. Thank you again, everybody. And I also want to say, Denise, I'm going to borrow that line of yours. I'm 6'2". You can find me afterwards. I love saying that now. Thanks. Everyone, we have a few thank yous, and I want to start with our amazing Fort Worth Club team, Miguel and his team. Thank them for everything they do for us. Every week, they take care of us. They're an extension of our Rotary family. Thank you all for everything you do. You make this possible every week. We appreciate you. We also want to thank our sponsors again, Fort Worth Convention Center, thank you, and Charleston State University. We appreciate that. Also, thank you to past Rotarian Gordon Boswell, who leaves this beautiful floral with us every week. And then also, I've got to bring it up. Do's are due. You know what to do. Find Aurora if you have any questions. And next week, December 13th, join us. We're going to have a special day. It's Festive Follies. Join us early, come at 11 a.m. for eggnog, punch, and we will then kick it off with some amazing entertainment to follow. Have a great weekend, everyone. We are adjourned.